It is one of 2024's most consequential days for U.S. politics, a day that has been dubbed as Super Tuesday, and rightly so. It is the deciding lap in the race for both parties' presidential nominations. The Super Tuesday polling is underway, and millions of Americans are casting their ballots in 16 states and 1 territory. It is important to note here that only Democrat voters will cast their ballots in Iowa. Before this Tuesday, the early nominating contests had already garnered quite a bit of attention. However, those states awarded less than 11% of the total delegates in the nominating contests. Now, more than a third of the total delegates are at stake for both Republicans and Democrats. In fact, California and Texas alone account for more than 300 delegates. Both Joe Biden and Donald Trump have not had to sweat much so, and they are likely to maintain their momentum through Super Tuesday. However, neither candidate can win a majority of the delegates until later in March. Both of them are likely to pass the magic number on March 12th or the 19th. On the Republican side, former President Trump is looking to enter Wednesday with a commanding lead in the delegate count. The question is whether his lone challenger, Nikki Haley, can gain any traction. She has won only 1 contest so far, the primary in Washington, D.C. Even though she is falling far behind in terms of delegates, Haley insists that Republicans deserve a second option. But unless she puts up a rather unexpected show in the next few hours, they will not have an option anymore. For Democrats, Biden is only aiming for a strong showing as he gears up for a possible rematch with Trump in November. The president has come from a wake-up call in Michigan. He won the Democratic primary there easily, but more than 100,000 primary voters chose to be uncommitted over voting for the president. He has faced challenges over his approach to Israel's war in Gaza and is likely to face a similar hurdle in at least a few states. In Minnesota, Muslim community leaders are urging voters to opt for the uncommitted option on their Democratic primary ballots. And for more on this, VOA, or Voice of America correspondent Chris Casquero is now joining us live from Virginia. Chris, good to see you. How is the primaries process where you are?
Well, turnout has been steady now that the rain has stopped in the last couple of hours. The polls have been open for about 5.5 hours now, and they will be open until 7 p.m. local time, so about 7.5 more hours here. So it's going pretty well. Nothing unexpected. Turnout seems pretty steady, but not too heavy. So no lines, nothing of that sort. But that's usually the case in primaries where turnout is not as heavy as it is in general elections. It will be in November.
Chris, I actually wanted to ask you about the turnout, but now that you pointed that out, how crucial is Super Tuesday to both Nikki Haley, Joe Biden, and Donald Trump?
Well, for Nikki Haley, it's really her last stand, and whether she wants to continue in this race personally, and whether her big donors will be able to fund her campaign based on her showing here on Super Tuesday. After the South Carolina primary, the Koch network decided to stop funding her campaign and focus on U.S. House and Senate races. Now, for Donald Trump, it's a matter of watching how soon he gets to 12, 15 delegates, the number of delegates he needs, committed delegates to him that he needs to secure the nomination. And his campaign believes that he can hit that 1,215 mark by March 12th or March 19th in those nominating contests. Now, for Joe Biden, I mean, he's running virtually unopposed, but we'll see if that protest vote effort that started in Michigan takes hold in Minnesota, where there's a large Somali American population and it's majority Muslim. And of course, people are angry with the way that Joe Biden has handled the Israel-Hamas conflict, and for the U.S.'s unwavering support of Israel, and his administration not calling for a ceasefire until yesterday when Vice President Kamala Harris called for an immediate 6-week ceasefire.
Chris, finally and very quickly, you are in Virginia. What's the support there, or who are they supporting? Is it Nikki Haley, is it Donald Trump, or is it Joe Biden?
Well, this is a suburban D.C. district, and D.C. is heavily Democratic. So most of the voters here in Arlington are Democratic. So that's perhaps why turnout is low. But, of course, Virginia has an open primary, so anybody can pull a Republican vote regardless of their own party affiliation. So we've talked to a few people who have cast ballots for Nikki Haley but are Democrats, but we're not seeing that in large numbers, at least at this polling place.
Chris Casqueo is live in Arlington, Virginia. Chris, thank you very much for talking to us today. For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.